What's up, A to Z Sports Live on our very first Titans postgame show presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. And the Titans are 0-1 to start the 2023 NFL season at the hands of 3 Ryan Tannehill interceptions, no touchdowns, 5 field goals, and the Saints beat the Titans 16-15. Pretty ugly game. It was an ugly first half. We talked about it all in the halftime show. Now discussing it all in the post-game show. Sam, before the official open, tell the people what they got to do here.
Share the show. We got to get it out to all of the Titans fans out there to come in and hop in on this conversation. If you guys are upset, let's hear it. Let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. Have the conversation. Talk about what we just watched and the 0-1 start for the Titans, but you got to share the show. So hit the share button on Facebook, send that YouTube link, send it to a friend, send it in your group chat, fantasy football group chat, whatever it is. Get people in here. Let's talk Titans. Let's talk week 1.
That's right. Let's thank all of our Titan Game Day Live season-long partners, starting with X Golf Nashville, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee, right there at xgolfnashville.com. The Mint Gaming Hall, home of big jackpots and big fun, just 35 minutes north of Nashville, themintgaming.com. BetMGM, as always, our favorite sports books. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Practice in Tennessee, family and criminal courts, 35 counties in Middle Tennessee, AmandaJGentry.com. Adventure Science Center, and explore and discover with them at adventuresci.com. Chim Chimney, doing the right job the first time, honest, dependable, and affordable for all of your chimney needs. Chim-Chimney-Inc.com. And Jarrett Fire, your safety, their expertise, keeping your facilities comfortable and secure, one inspection at a time at JarrettCompanies.com. So this is the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry post-game show. The Titans down to the Saints 16-15, the final score. Sam, ugly as it could get. The title of the show, I came up with it. Ryan Tannehill's 3 interceptions ruin week 1 as the Saints escape with a win. I'm going to go ahead and pat myself on the back. My pregame prediction was the Saints to win 17-16. So I was 2 total points off of that, the same margin of victory taken right there. But Sam, I'll let you kind of kick this thing off as the chat is basically on fire. Good thing Jarrett Fire Protections keeps everybody safe, and Chim Chimney keeps everybody safe with your fireplaces. But Sam, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm interested. We're going to talk to the chat. I want to get your take, Austin, on the Mike Vrabel decision there at the end of the game. A very difficult decision with a 4th down and 5 from inside the 15-yard line. And, down by 4. Do you kick the field goal?
I can start there if you want. Like, I can start right there.
I mean, let's start off with the obvious. Ryan Tannehill was awful. He was awful. Not bad. He was awful. Outside of the INTs, I think he had 2 others that should have been picked. Probably should have thrown 5 interceptions.
Or maybe more. Yeah.
And at least 2 wide open guys downfield that he just missed on. So he was atrocious. And I just fired off a tweet recently. Like, I don't know. Mike Herndon, good guy, good analyst, good Titans fan. He had tweeted that he didn't feel like things looked different for the Titans from last year to today. I disagree with that. I actually think everything looked different. Your quarterback can't play like shit. Like, your quarterback was terrible. And you can't throw 3 interceptions and miss wide open players downfield. So, I mean, that is really what this game is summarized as for me, is Ryan Tannehill's awful performance cost them the game. Christian Fulton, awful. Kind of cost them the game, and his injury didn't help them, and then came back and was even worse. There's a lot to unpack, but I think we need to get that out of the way at the start, because at the core of this game, it all comes back to your quarterback leaving points on the board and putting your defense in tough spots with some turnovers.
Yeah, it was, and we'll talk more about Ryan Tannehill because every post-game show we grade the quarterback's performance, but because there's a lot to be had about there. I see some typical Ryan Tannehill. I see all these types of comments about, how bad he is. And we talked about some of that in the halftime show. But Sam, let's go to what you kind of pointed out to. The Titans were driving, and this was after Tannehill missed his second wide open touchdown pass of the game, of the second half of the fourth quarter. Let me just triple down on correcting myself. Tannehill misses Tyjae Spears on a wheel route down the left sideline that if he just floats it inbounds, let Tyjae catch and run underneath it, and it's a big touchdown, and the Titans take the lead. He missed Chig on a beautifully executed reverse pass, flea flicker, if you want to call it, and Chig was wide open, and he just overshot him. So it was almost like the Chig overshoot affected the Tajay throw of not laying it out there for Tajay Spears. So they get down there, and they get into a spot, 4th and 5, around the 15-yard line. I understand Mike Vrabel's decision to kick the field goal because you're down 4, and you've got all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Here, and I was texting Zach Reagan and Charlie Burris about this exact thing because Charlie's pulling his hair out. And I said, it's okay if you get a touchback on the kickoff. It's at 2:17. You've got 3 snaps before the 2-minute warning. Then if you get a stop, you get the ball back with either the 2-minute warning or right after the 2-minute warning with as close to 2 minutes as possible to go down and kick a field goal to win the game. And Nick Folk's been great for you so far. But what happened? Nick Folk did not get a touchback. You lose the 5 seconds on the kick return. Now you just get 2 snaps before the 2-minute warning, and it goes downhill from there. It's 3rd down, long, and it's over at that point. So I understand what that was. I don't disagree with that decision by Vrabel. It was pretty close to working out.
I would say, yeah, and this is probably controversial. I think it was the right call. And it's hindsight. You can look back at it and say, well, look, they didn't get the football back. And, Mike Vrabel, I'm sure, is going to answer questions about his decision there in his post-game press conference. But what you had seen from your quarterback, what you had seen from your offense was that their chances of, 1, converting that 4th down, slim, and 2, driving down the field with limited time and actually getting in the end zone, even slimmer. So you take your field goal there, you get within 1, you trust your defense that had been awesome all day to get a stop, use your timeouts, and then you hope you can just go down and get into field goal range for your kicker that's 5 for 5 and had already made from 50 plus. I think that was it with the vibe of the game, with how your quarterback was playing. I think that was the right decision. It obviously didn't work out, but I'm not going to let the result make me critical of that process. So yeah, I understand it. I think it was a good call. Interested in hearing what Mike Vrabel has to say about it in his presser here.
Yeah, and the whole thing is the reason why the Titans lost the game is because they gave up points in situations. Look, referees were a problem in the first half. There was some questionable calls from the refs, but Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions and potentially playing the worst game in his Titans career, one-upping himself from the Cincinnati Bengals playoff game from 2 playoffs ago, was just about that. So let's go ahead and ask everybody the main question of the day, and that is one word. What is one word to describe the Titans' loss to the New Orleans Saints today in the final score 16-15, a 1-point loss to the New Orleans Saints? What is one word to describe the Titans' loss to the Saints today? But first, let me tell you guys about our great partner, Amanda J. Gentry, and the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, that's where you can find our gal, Amanda J. Gentry. Practice in Tennessee in family and criminal courts in over 35 counties across Middle Tennessee. A trial lawyer for you, working on fathers' rights to protect your fundamental constitutional right to be a father to your children, protecting everything that you deserve with whatever your situation might be in. So check out AmandaJGentry.com. Know your rights and protect your rights by going to AmandaJGentry.com. She's a massive Titans fan, does amazing work, and covering 35 counties is no joke. And what Amanda J. Gentry does with all of her passion and everything she provides to her practice as well. So check them out, AmandaJGentry.com. Sam, I'll send you to the chat. What is one word to describe the Titans' loss today to the Saints?
We have a lot of chats to get to here. People letting us hear it, letting the Titans hear it. We got putrid, we got pathetic, awful. We've got just Tannehill. One word is Tannehill. Disgusting, unprepared, trash, typical, reality check, pathetic. We've got redundant, figures, damning, whelp, infuriating, atrocious, ignorant, typical, horrible, rusty, expected, comical, devastating, crappy, rusty, Malik, shitty, Offensive, disgraceful, suicide. God, wow.
Oh, come on
Ugly, Willis, typical, unready. I mean, the comments are flooding in. I can't even get to, a quarter of these. I'm still scrolling, trying to get back live. Yeah, people not happy. I think that we're going to see a lot of the same words here. It was ugly. Austin, do you have one word for the people? I mean, what comes to mind for you?
Honestly, I feel shocked. Like the theme of the pregame show, Sam, was we're going into this game for the first time in probably 5-ish years, truly not knowing what to expect from the offense, but expecting something positive, expecting something exciting, knowing that Tim Kelly is here and Ryan Tannehill is going to be better. The offensive line is going to be improved, and DeAndre Hopkins has arrived, and Treylon Burks is healthy enough to go out there and not be questionable. Just he's out there to play with his knee sprain after that. And just to be flat out shocked that Ryan Tannehill was this bad. Here's another word: duped. Sam, I went to nearly every training camp.
Bamboozled.
Bamboozle again. They got
That's
me,
the
man.
Stephen A. Smith video, right? I mean,
I missed two training camp practices, and they were both the ones in Minnesota, and you were there. I did not expect Ryan Tannehill to look like this. This was not anywhere close to the vibe that I got from number 17 and what he was going to be able to do this season with the new offense, with his weapons, with the offensive line, and his command of what was going on. I feel completely bamboozled, shocked, and duped across the board. And honestly, I feel like an idiot because I was out here saying, I said just last Wednesday that I thought Ryan Tannehill was going to have 4,000 plus yards passing for the first time in a Titans quarterback history. I feel like an idiot because that's how Ryan Tannehill played today, and to make me look like an idiot because I thought this was going to be very different.
Yeah, my one word is inexcusable, and I think any of these words are applicable. Because it's just it's beyond replacement level quarterback play, below well below that. I mean, if there is any sort of I don't know if you any sort of encouragement, it's that he wasn't alone. Joe Burrow threw for 81 yards today in a loss to the Cleveland Browns. And, I mean, so Ryan Tannehill wasn't the only one that struggled, but it was even worse than that. Austin, 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions, the amount of wide open guys missed. It's just absolutely inexcusable in every way. And I was on here on the pregame show saying, let's not overreact. It's hard not to. And I don't blame anybody that is when you see your quarterback have that sort of performance in week 1. I'm not jumping off the ledge just yet. I'm still trying to stay somewhat grounded and understanding that, hey, that field goal that the Saints got after that fumble, the difference in the game, how different is it if you get a touchdown, a defensive touchdown there? But regardless, your quarterback was awful, bad. So, sure, I'm not going to be calling for anybody else right now, but if you want to, go ahead. I think everybody's justified in what they're saying about Ryan Tannehill and the Titans right now. We went through an entire offseason of listening to people say, DeAndre Hopkins to Tennessee, why would he want to go play with Ryan Tannehill? I made fun of those people. Maybe those people had a little bit more, justification for what they were saying than I thought, because he was terrible today in every way. And yeah, for all the hype that was around the offense, it's we didn't get to see a ton of it because your quarterback was uncomfortable and inaccurate. And I will say this, going back to what I said earlier, I'm not okay with saying this is same old, because I think this is actually a polar opposite of what the Titans were last year. Ryan Tannehill last year, I thought, made something of nothing around him with both the offensive line and his offensive coordinator. Today, I felt like his OC and his skill players put him in a position to succeed, and he failed them epically. There was the one drop from Treylon Burks, but do we have any other moment that we were his receivers, his running backs, his tight ends let him down?
No, the offensive line, yeah. I mean, we can talk about that,
the offensive line, yes. But I mean, NWI made some plays for him. DeAndre Hopkins, when the ball was actually on his body, caught the ball. Tajay Spears and Chigakonkwo had opportunities for huge plays getting open down the field, and Ryan Tannehill let his team down. So this is on his shoulders. That's where it rests for me, and it's inexcusable.
Yeah, I think that's a fair word here. Let's do. I think you're very correct in what you're saying. It is very different because last year Tannehill was like, "What do I have to do to get some help here?" And now everybody else is looking at Tannehill like, "Bro, come on, let's get this thing going." Let's go to some super chats here in a second. Here, Noah says, "Is it still too quick to overreact?" Sam, I'll let you take that one for a second. I know you said you're not calling for anybody else, but
objectively, yes. I mean, it's week 1 of the NFL season. It's a 1-point loss to a Saints team that I think is very good. Dennis Allen is a very good defensive head coach. They gave the Titans problems today. So objectively speaking, yes, it's too early to overreact. But I also understand that, football is an emotional sport. Fandom is an emotional thing to be invested into. And for all of the expectations and the emotions that surrounded this team leading up to this game, it's hard not to. And so I don't blame anybody that is feeling all of those things Austin said. Like, you probably feel like an idiot. Like, fans feel like idiots. No, you said you felt like an idiot, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the fans at home feel the same way. And they, tried to buy into Ryan Tannehill this year with DeAndre Hopkins and tried to buy into Tim Kelly. You probably feel pretty stupid if you did that right now. And so there's a lot of season left. This is by no means the end of the Titans' chances this year or necessarily indicative of what's to come the rest of the season for the next 3-4 months. But at this point today, I think you have to feel pretty awful about where things are at.
Yeah, no doubt. A to Z Sports here live on the post-game show presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Practice in Tennessee family and criminal courts in over 35 counties across Middle Tennessee. AmandaJGentry.com. Some more super chats here. Let's see. Binge says, ID crisis, too much of Derrick Henry on the sideline. I think
this is situational, but Austin, I had this issue with the Titans last year too.
Yeah.
Of like where Derrick Henry goes in the second half, and the Titans have these issues of like not scoring points in the second half. And I'm like, well, your best player's on the sideline. But yeah, I mean, your guy had 2 carries in the third quarter, 2 carries in the third quarter. So I did think that there was a little bit too much Derrick Henry on the sideline. I get that you want to split up his looks and stuff and maybe put a little bit less tread on his tires, but 15 carries, 15 touches.
Well, here's the problem is because the third quarter did not have necessarily a lot because you had the first play where he had a carry. They had some success. They got a couple first downs in a row. Then the interception happened down the field to Chris Moore. Then the next drive, they go out there and he hits Burks a couple times. And then they get penalties and a sack, and now they're back, and now they're not running Derrick Henry there. So that's kind of the end of the third quarter at that point because of the 2 drives and how slow they are going. So yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely fair, but they were actually getting some passing success going in the third quarter outside the interception, and the Burks drop hurt a lot. Right.
I mean, it's just especially too with like the way this defense played. I know one of the interceptions was in your own territory, like basically gave New Orleans a field goal. So, I mean, so you're giving points away at the same time. I don't know. It's all very frustrating. More super chats. 3 INTs should have been 5, lost by 1. All true. Wasting Derrick and the defense is nothing short of criminal. Any positives outside of Henry and Chig? I'd say Tajay Spears was a positive. I
don't think
good.
Chig was a positive because he
was not a positive.
Open.
Yeah,
he was wide open on a ball that he didn't catch, and he didn't have any catches on 2 targets, and he had a false start that hurt them in a bad spot too.
Tajay Spears, 3 carries, 27 yards, 9 yards a carry, had 2 catches only 1 catch, but I feel like he did something with the football in his hands. I would say I think offensively, Tim Kelly's play calling was creative. I mean, between the trick play that had Chig running wide open and then what they had going on with Tannehill rolling to his left and Spears on the wheel running wide open, those were very creative play designs that put the Titans in a position to potentially have chunk plays, and the quarterback failed to execute. So maybe some positives there. Let's see. We got this no playing Henry mess isn't it? Kelly being too cute. You can still open up the offense up with Henry in, and it makes their D stay grounded. I think there's some true to this situationally. Like you said, there wasn't a ton of opportunities to use Derrick, but I did feel like when the Titans started to spiral a little bit, they went away from him. They also had some bad penalties and 4 false starts on the day that took them out of the ability to use Derrick. When you get backed up on like 2nd and 13 or whatever, you don't really want to run with Derrick Henry anymore. Let's see. We've got Jason Davis saying massive issues at quarterback, outside line, offensive line, cornerback, and offensive personnel usage. And in turn, the play selection that goes with that, many of the same issues as last season. I agree. All 3 of those things were problems. Cornerback specifically with Christian Fulton and the X plays. He gets hurt with soft tissue on a hamstring, comes back in, gets torched on a massive play in the 4th quarter. It's as bad as it gets. So not a good day for Christian Fulton there. Can we get Mariota back if this is what we got, Ryan Fields? I don't think you want that. I've seen Marcus Mariota play football recently. It's not it either. Every concern I had showed its face in game 1. Offensive line was shaky. The cornerback's trash. Offensive coordinator was bad. Tannehill struggles forcing moving on from Henry. Vrabel, bad calls on 4th down. I don't know if I agree with everything you said there, Andre, but I would say I think this was – I'm interested in hearing your opinion on this, Austin, but was this the worst form of – I would say this is what we thought the Titans were at their worst, where the defensive line is great. You get after the quarterback. You stop the run, you create turnovers, but if the quarterback play is underwhelming, the offensive line lets you down, and you're not getting the type of production from Derrick that you're used to getting, you can lose close, ugly 16 to 15 games where the ball doesn't bounce your way.
Right. I agree. This is definitely the ugliest version of what this team's going to be offensively. And,
but
they move the ball.
Yeah, but you can't be the ugly version of yourselves too often. Otherwise, you cost yourself some of these borderline games, and Cleveland's not looking like a slouch after what they just did to the Bengals.
Yeah, and the only thing you can say that can somewhat explain it is week 1, right? It's week 1. It's the ugliest we're gonna look. Should have won the game. Bad play, yada yada, whatever. Move on. But now you got to move on to beat the Chargers next week if you're gonna say all that stuff. So Sam, you got any more super chats to get to? There's a lot of
I got a couple more. Elk 70 says Colts look good on offense and defense. AR played well. Anthony Richardson did have himself a good game. They lost to Jacksonville, but Anthony Richardson did play well in a 31-21 defeat. NWI should not be leading wide receivers. What are we doing? I mean, I would agree, but I also think NWI was not used like a guy that was leading wide receivers. He just made a couple plays. So, I mean, that's a positive if NWI is making a couple plays. But, yeah, you'd certainly like to see more from Treylon Burks and, hopefully a better connection between Ryan Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins. Tannehill targeted Hopkins, 13 times. So, got a lot of looks his way, just didn't execute on him.
2 of the interceptions were towards Hopkins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, underthrown balls to Hopkins. And Kelvin says, where's Chig? 2 targets. I've been saying for a while, that's what Chig's going to be in this offense. I don't think Chig is going to get the 6-7 targets people think he is. He is going to get his looks when available. But yeah, so be prepared for more of that. I think you're going to be underwhelmed if you're expecting 5-6 catches a game from Chig. Brett Martin says, leave Henry and Spears together on the field, too predictable with personnel packages. I totally agree there. I'd like to see more of that. And then we've got a super sticker from Cruz and Nashville.
Whatever that is.
I don't know what that is.
But yeah. Thanks, Cruz. All right, so let's go. Yeah, appreciate that, Cruz. All right, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off of this one because, we have to, right? Yep. Every post-game show, we grade the quarterback's performance. So guys and gals, how do you grade Ryan Tannehill's performance in this loss to the New Orleans Saints? Give us the letter grade, A+ through probably what it's going to be, F, right here. But first, let me tell you guys about Chimney. That's where you should turn for all of your chimney needs. Doing the job right the first time. They are honest, dependable, and affordable. expertise and experience. Chim Chimney prides themselves on extensive experience in the chimney sweeping and repairs business. Chim Chimney's team is knowledgeable and has the skill set that's been owned over years of dedicated service. Safety first. When you choose Chim Chimney, you're choosing safety. Services not only enhance chimney performance, but also ensure that your home stays safe from fire hazards and carbon monoxide risks. We're approaching fire season. So whenever you want to have fire season and that fall weather, that football weather, you got to make sure Chim Chimney can get you right there the first time before anything wrong happens. So make sure you get your chimney inspected and get it swept if you need it. And you can check them out at chim-chimneyinc.com.
Yeah, Austin. So Chim Chimney does the job right the first time. Ryan Tannehill did not. First time, second time, third time, or fourth time. We got a C- from Casey. And as expected, it's a whole lot of Fs and it's a whole lot of F minuses. We got F minus, F minus. Bouncing back, Reggie tried to give Ryan Tannehill a Z and go basically lower than the grading scale. I like this one from Knocktrap, says he gets an O Bismol. But yeah, it was an F performance. I don't think there's any debating that. I don't think there's any questioning that. Your quarterback can't turn the ball over 3 times. You can't miss big opportunities. We said in the first half, he just looked uncomfortable in the pocket. That didn't change. Bad execution all the way around. This game falls on Ryan Tannehill's shoulders for me. And yeah, it's on him. And, interested in seeing what he and Mike Vrabel have to say afterwards.
Yeah. So, it's just as bad as it can get. I'll run through the stats just so we can kind of have the box score look at what Ryan Tannehill's day was. 16 of 34. That easy math tells me that's under 50% completion percentage. 198 yards, 5.8 yards on average per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked 3 times, and a quarterback rating of 28.8. He ran the ball 3 times for 5 yards. Most of those were to avoid sacks. I don't see how it can be anything but an F. I think the only conversation here is this the worst game that Ryan Tannehill's played as a Titan, or is it still Cincinnati, just because the Cincinnati game was a home playoff game for a chance to go to the AFC title game, and this was week 1 of his contract year too?
I think it was this. I mean, Cincinnati, the stage, I get it, but like in terms of performance, I've never seen Ryan Tannehill worse than he was today. And so hopefully that's an anomaly and not a sign of this being year, 14 for him or whatever it is at his age. I've never seen him worse than this. So I would say this was his worst game in terms of performance. And so, yeah, you lose 16-15, but it's like, man, as so many opportunities to make that thing go the other way.
I feel bad for him. Just because, I mentioned this earlier, he just doesn't look right, between the ears, right? He doesn't.
I would agree. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense because, like you said, that's not what we saw during camp. That's not the guy that we saw. So where, is it PTSD from the injuries and the sacks last year and the full speed? Where is that coming from? He did not look mentally sound. I agree with that 100%. And doubted himself. Moving around in the pocket when he didn't have to, not making good decisions. He didn't look like Ryan Tannehill at all.
Yeah, and that's concerning because I don't think that just goes away next week because he's playing in Nissan. I think, honestly, I don't have it's obviously immediate reaction. We're less than 30 minutes after the game ended. I'm not saying this, too out there, but I feel like there's a big opportunity for boos to happen at Nissan Stadium in week 2 if things don't happen very quickly or start nice against the Chargers. And what does that do? If he's already looking like he's mentally shaken, what are boos in the first half of the home opener going to do to the guy? And here's the other problem is that we watched those same training camp practices. Ryan Tannehill was by far the best quarterback that the Titans had on the roster, and they've got 3 of them. So, I don't know what's going on with that. The comfort level was not there at all.
Austin, I will go farther. And I mean, this is Titans fans, but this is just sports fans in general. I think if the Titans go 3-and-out on their first series, that they're already going to have the Boo Birds ready. I think this is how disgusted and over what they how upset this fan base is at what they just saw, and they should be. Like, they should be that upset. So, yeah.
I'll take it a step further, Sam. The Titans will probably announce the starting defense and the starting lineups presentation in week 2, so Ryan Tannehill does not get booed running out of the tunnel.
That is a possibility.
I think that's going to happen. Watch it. Watch it. The starting defense will be announced through the tunnel and the starting lineups over the PA just so Tannehill won't get booed. I mean, they'll do the defense anyway because they're freaking good and they played well enough to win the game. But I think it's that. I think it's right there. I think the first time Ryan Tannehill's name is said after something negative, Titans fans are going to pounce on that. And I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. Cruz comes in with a super chat. It was not. It's game 1. We will do better in the scheme. Could have been better. All the interceptions were on him. There were some bad calls. I think all of those things are true. I have a hard time pointing to like, oh, a bad call or, oh, the scheme or, oh, this or that when your quarterback has the day it does. It's very hard for me to get over what Ryan Tannehill did today as the root cause for all of the problems. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a bummer because let's take a second because Ryan Tannehill and lack of touchdowns and 5 field goals and how the game ended and 3 interceptions, it is so negative. But let's, spend a few minutes and talk about the good things that did happen because I don't want to just be mad the rest of the day. But I think Arden Key is as advertised, right? Arden Key immediately comes out and put his stamp on this defense. And you saw what the front looks like with he and Jeff Simmons and Danico Autry. Tier Tart looks like a freaking beast up there in a day where Harold Landry was very quiet, but it was okay. And the Titans still had a bunch of sacks and a lot of pressures up front with Harold Landry not even involved. And so I think, Sam, you can kind of expand on that a little bit.
No, yeah. I mean, I think the Titans invested resources in that front 4 with the Jeffrey Simmons extension and the signing of Travis Gibson and the signing of Arden Key and the deal that they gave Harold Landry back a year ago. Like, they have a lot of resources tied up front. And the back half of last year, they didn't affect the passer. So I think one of the big positives of this team has to be what they look like up front. Because that is something that travels, that's something that plays, that's something that's going to disrupt every quarterback in the NFL. That much pressure, that much I thought there was really good tackling too from this defense. Like Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Elijah Molden flying around, making big tackles against the run. So yeah, you got beat deep a couple times by a couple really good receivers. That's a problem. That's a concern. But you like what they did up front. And like you said, Arden Key is as advertised in training camp in the game. He should have had 2.5 sacks today if you credit that strip sack as a strip sack, which it was. So that energy is translating. And so those are positives that I think if you're a Titans fan looking for confidence in your team moving forward, I would look there and say, defense can win you a lot of games. You can't turn the ball over 3 times and be this bad offensively. But, even a competent offense wins a game with the defensive effort the Titans had today.
Yeah, real quick, Lucas says, like the show, guys. It's good. It's free to do. So please, do what Lucas says and hit that thumbs up button on Facebook and YouTube. Just because you like the show doesn't mean that you like how the Titans performed on offense today. But yeah, the Titans defense, very phenomenal in how they played. And I thought they fought hard when they had a lot of opportunities to kind of cave and give up. But yeah, there was how different would that game have been if at the very least they called the Arden Key strip sack an actual strip sack and not an incomplete pass. And the Titans save points off the board. New Orleans does not kick a field goal. And they just had the ball back.
Well, it's 15-13 then, and then the Titans take that field goal at the end. So they take that field goal. They go up 15-13. New Orleans is driving for the game there, and so maybe they do end up winning that game regardless, but it's certainly a lot more pressure on in terms of the situation. So
yeah, no, Caleb brings up, says, or you could, or on the 4th down, go for that. What the hell was that? Now, Sam and I kind of went through that. I think both of us understand and actually agree that was the correct decision.
I understand it's controversial too. Like, I understand that people aren't going to agree with that. And look, hindsight, it's easy to look back and criticize that decision, but I believe, and Austin, I don't know how you feel about this, but this is just a philosophy of mine. I'm very adamantly against analytics because I don't believe like analytics in terms of like win probability and stuff. So you see those numbers floated around all the time that people say, oh, go for it on fourth down every time the analytics say to, or go for two every time the analytics say to. You saw people say the analytics gave the Titans 10% less win probability after kicking the field goal than they had before if they would have gone for it on fourth down, whatever. I believe in vibes. I believe in morale. I believe in momentum and the feeling around a game mattering just as much as the analytics do. And that vibe around the Titans offense was bad. And so, yeah, I think they go for it. Not great vibes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
and
think
I
that
also,
matters.
for sure, I thought that was the correct move. Let me see if I can scroll back up because there was a lot of comments flying in here. Oh, Scott says Vrabel not taking the penalty, the holding penalty that could have pushed the Saints out of field goal range. I forget which field goal that was, Sam. I don't know if you remember. That was the field goal that made it 9-9 is what it was.
Yeah, it was the third field goal, and it was third down and either a third down and like 6 or whatever it
no,
would have been.
It was going to be either a 4th and 2 or a 3rd and 11. And Vrabel allowed them.
That's questionable. I will say I disagree with that one. I think you, with as good as your defense was, you've got a decent chance at forcing an incompletion or getting a sack or getting a stop there, and then you keep 3 points off the board. But Vrabel wanted to test the rookie. He got burned.
And I think I feel like, because I tweeted this out, Sam, I feel like Mike Vrabel was focusing on the wrong thing. Instead of, he was focusing on, let's see if this rookie kicker can go make a long field goal. Instead of, I trust my defense that had 4 sacks in the first half to go get after Derek Carr when Chris Olave was in the medical tent. That is where I think Vrabel missed on that one. But hey, I mean, that's not why they lost the game either, because they had plenty of opportunities in the game. But it was definitely, points, like every point matters. And that was very evident for today's game. Titans losing 16-15 here live on the Amanda J. Gentry post-game show presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Check them out at amandajgentry.com for all of your law needs, family or criminal law in Middle Tennessee, serving over 35 counties across the mid-state. Chris Olave was a beast today. Traylon Burks was mostly invisible outside of a couple back-to-back catches, and then he dropped it on a 3rd target in a row. I did think long-term, Sam, the end around to Burks, that decision to even run that play was a positive outlook on his knee injury for a long-term deal.
Yeah, I mean, Traylon needs to catch that ball, but overall, I'm not concerned about Traylon. This is, you take it with a grain of salt coming off of the injury. I didn't know how much he was going to be able to do in general. I think the fact that he played, was out there and got some targets and got the ball in his hands a few times is a plus. So yeah, I'm not that worried about it. Got some super chats before we move on here. $20 from Titan. An absolute missile says this was Tanny's first game back in how long, but missing 2 open touchdowns. He needed reps through preseason. Yep. I mean, yep. I've been saying it and I'll keep saying it. Now I'm sick and tired of saying it. Reps in the preseason matter. Teams that don't do them usually come out flat and struggle. Did Joe Burrow play in the preseason? Joe Burrow was dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow threw for 81 yards today and got absolutely demolished by the Cleveland Browns. Ryan Tannehill hasn't played football since the middle of November or whenever his last game was.
December 17th was the game against the Chargers.
And that was his last time playing. He missed the final 3 or 4 games last year and then comes out, doesn't play much in the preseason, takes 3 snaps, hands it off. Mike Vrabel gets a little cheeky and cute with it. And, because he says, oh, we'll see, I'm going to play him, and then gives him 3 handoffs. It's bad. And they should have learned their lesson by now that he needs reps in the preseason. So facts. Uncle C Gaming just tosses $2. No comment from him, but wants to share some love.
I'm trying to think of week 1 games that Ryan Tannehill has played in. This is the 4th week 1 game.
They've been Bad.
Bad.
All like bad
Well,
all throughout.
last year against the Giants was not that bad.
It was bad. It was bad. He had a
For
good
Tannehill
drive.
individually?
He had a good drive. I mean,
They scored 24
individually,
points
I
in the
don't
first
know.
half.
Like offensively, it was bad though. I mean,
Last year, they scored 24 points in the first half against the Giants.
I don't think they scored 24 points in the game against the Giants.
They lost 21. Sorry, right? It was
21. They lost 23-21 or whatever it was, or something like that.
So they scored all their
23-21.
points in the first half, is my point. 21 points in the first half, 0 in the second. But back to my overall, thing, just kind of moment that I had here is that week 1 in 2020, his first as a starter, they went to Denver on late Monday night and barely put up any points. And Steven Gostkowski had them win with a bunch of field goals. Then in 2021, it was the embarrassing home loss to the Arizona Cardinals where he looked awful. And then last year, the loss to the Giants. And then this year, today, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns.
Yeah, I can give it to you here. Ryan Tannehill in 2020 week 1 did 29 of 43 for 249 and 2 touchdowns. The Titans won that game 16-14. So not
that
much
was a lot of there was missed field goals there. So it was a lot of like red zone faltering. Yeah.
Arizona, he was 21 for 35 for 212, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 6 sacks,
and a fumble. He had a fumble.
And a fumble and a loss 38-13.
Gross.
Then last year he went 20 for 33 for 266 with 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 21-20 loss. So they scored 20 points in that game.
That's right.
2 touchdowns in that game. It was all they had. One of them was on the first drive. So like the offense week 1, 20 points, 13 points, 16 points. This year, 15 points, and yet we're not playing our starters in the preseason. I still think it's bad process and bad decision-making.
Patrick has a good comment. Yeah. Vrabel's 2-4 in week 1s. Usually something going on wrong for the Titans in week 1. Look, them's the stats, right? So, I mean, that's a good comment there from Patrick. All right, Sam. So let's talk more about Mike Vrabel because live here in our Titan Game Day live this season, we've got all of our new partners and new segments. This one is Mike Vrabel's winning formula. How many boxes did the Titans not check in Mike Vrabel's winning formula? So we'll talk about this every post-game show. There are 3 boxes to check. Have the most rushing yards, win the turnover battle, and then also have the higher quarterback rating. So we'll talk about all those things. But first, let me tell you guys about the Adventure Science Center. Adventure Science Center, AdventureSCI.com is where to go. That is where you should explore and discover with Adventure Science Center. Your full family adventure awaits. Once again, the website, AdventureSCI.com. You can challenge your friends and family and learn about the human body as you fight pathogens with lasers, body quests, all ages included in general admission. There's a lot of different things for the kids. Hey, and also there's things for you, the adults and the parents out there, because enjoy unlimited samples of liquor, spirits, and cocktails as you learn about the science of alcohol and mixology. The Science of Spirits, it's a 21 up event coming up Friday, September 29th. So check that out. You can get tickets at AdventureSCI.com. The Science of Spirits, not just for the kids, but Adventure Science Center, it's for everybody. So once again, Adventure Science Center, the Science of Spirits, a 21 up event, Friday, September 29th at AdventureSCI.com. So Sam, let's go to the stat sheet. How many of these boxes did the Titans not check when it comes to Mike Vrabel's winning formula? Rushing yards. They checked that box. They had the most rushing yards.
Barely, but they did.
Not barely. I mean, they outrushed New Orleans by over 30. 35 yards.
But I guess I mean barely in the sense it wasn't an amazing rushing day for the Titans. They had just over 100 rushing yards as a team, including 14 from Treylon Burks and Ryan Tannehill. So, I mean, 104 rushing yards as a team. Not great.
Not great, but they did check that box. The turnover box was gross. Now, it was just 3-2 in turnover, so it wasn't like the Titans were just demolished in the turnover margin. It just they didn't score enough points off of the Saints turnovers where the Saints did. And I think that's really where the margin of victory hurt them. And then obviously the quarterback rating, Derek Carr had a way better day than Ryan Tannehill when it comes to quarterback rating. Tannehill's quarterback rating was 28.8 and Derek Carr's a 96.1. That's the big deficit. That's why the Titans lost the game, because one quarterback outperformed the other, especially when the game mattered. Derek Carr had that big third down to ice the game, the long touchdown or the long pass to Olave to put it on ice.
Yeah, I mean, turnover battle, 3-2, but it's worse than that because one of those is Derek Carr at the end of the half, and one of those is the first play of the game. And Ryan Tannehill's either
those were
drives
6-point swings, though.
True. Ryan Tannehill, 3 interceptions, 2 of them, I think, in his own territory, or just like one of them on first down. They were driving and had a first down and 10. He took a deep shot to double coverage for Chris Moore. Like, those are just devastating decisions that take points away from you. So yeah, that comes back to that quarterback play you mentioned. Derek Carr, I don't think was awesome, but he didn't lose the game for his team, and Ryan Tannehill did.
Yeah. So the Saints scored 6 points off of the 2 of the 3 Ryan Tannehill interceptions, and the Titans had 3 points off of their turnovers, but they did save 3 points potentially for the Saints right before half. So, look, Mike Vrabel says if you get 2 out of those 3 boxes, you win the game. And the Saints got 2 out of those 3 boxes, and they won the game by 1, 16-15, the final score there. Sam, any other thoughts before we start looking around the NFL and the AFC South and kind of some other outcomes of today's games?
No, I mean, I think we summed it up, right? It's for a game that I think had so many different storylines that were bubbling. It can be summarized fairly simply. And so, it's on Ryan Tannehill to get better moving forward. It's on the Titans to find some answers offensively. And, like I said, still I'm sure there's still quotes and videos out now. I'm interested in hearing what Tannehill and Mike Vrabel and people have to say for this performance. This is no good, not a good way to start.
I did see Ryan Tannehill said that he felt good going into the game mentally and physically, and then he's excited to get back to work and has a lot of things to fix, obviously. That's a very, that was just a quote that I saw from, I think, Jill Jelnick, who tweeted that out there, who's covering the Titans down there in New Orleans. So a lot more content to come later on today as Buck Rising is in New Orleans getting ready for the Titans post-game pressers and everything in the locker room. But we'll also have prime time tonight for A to Z Sports Prime Time. But Sam, let's go ahead and get to the end of our show and look around the AFC South. See, there was a pretty entertaining game that went on between the Colts and the Jags. Before we get to all of the AFC South results, first tell us all about our new great partner in Jarrett Fire.
Jarrett Fire. Let's see if can you pull up the little graphic here for them? I lost track of them here. Jarrett Fire, they're comprehensive fire safety solutions from installation to inspections and maintenance. They've got you covered. That's fire alarms, sprinklers, extinguishers, etc. If you have it, they can do it. They're the industry leading expertise with over 75 plus years of experience. They have technicians certified and trained to the highest of standards. So you can get customized plans like tailored fire safety solutions to meet your facility's unique needs. They have rapid responses and a team available 24/7 for emergency services. And they're locally owned. There's no corporate owned. They like it that way. You can call and talk directly to a team member today and get a free quote. They also don't have contracts. That's part of the benefit of them being locally owned. So a lot of pluses there. Jarrett Fire, they're the place to go for any of your fire safety solutions. We love our new partners at Jarrett Fire.
That's right. JarrettCompanies.com is their website. Check them out. They got a ton of stuff they do there to help you guys out. All right. So looking around the AFC South, I was surprised to see that the Indianapolis Colts had a lead for quite a bit of that game. The Jags had 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to end up winning 31-21. Anthony Richardson wasn't as bad as I thought his debut was going to be in being able to score some points. Got a rushing touchdown as his first career touchdown, but he threw for 221, threw a touchdown, threw a pick, sacked 4 times, and then had 40 yards on the ground to lead the Colts in rushing. But Trevor Lawrence had 241 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Really, if you look at what the Calvin Ridley, his impact is being felt by going over 100 yards in his first game in a long time off of his gambling suspension. And then the Ravens just blow out the Texans, and that was expected. In our BetMGM Survivor pool, Sam, we are 1-0.
Yeah, we are 1-0. We did survive. Houston offense didn't really do a ton. Old friend Robert Woods had 6 catches for 57 yards. But yeah, Indianapolis, they hung around in this game, but ultimately Jacksonville, I think it's a really good debut for them, even if it's against the Colts, because Calvin Ridley showed up with over 100 yards, like you mentioned. Josh Allen had 3 sacks in that game, 3 sacks as an individual. So the stars are shining for Jacksonville. They have to feel pretty good. Also, how about some old friend alerts in New Orleans? Lonnie Johnson Jr. had a special teams tackle, and Ugo Amadi almost picked off Ryan Tannehill. That's bad because he got cut after like 2 games with the Titans. But yeah, that's the AFC South right now.
Yeah, I think, and I've been saying this ever since Anthony Richardson was drafted. That guy's just going to give you headaches. He's going to have the Colts in some games that they shouldn't be in because his legs are just going to make a play on 3rd and long, and you think you got him, but he's just going to do something to make you pull your hair out. Like that's just what Anthony Richardson is going to do. So I think for the AFC South teams, I think the Colts and Jags both should be pleased with their first performance, and the Texans had a terrible performance, no touchdowns. So the Texans and Titans, no touchdowns in week 1, but a couple more field goals for the Titans. But hey, guys, that'll wrap it up for us. Week 1, it was painful, but hey, it's Titan season. It's going to be painful, right? So glad everybody watched the show. Make sure you give the show a thumbs up. Hit that like button if you're watching on Facebook and or on YouTube. We like that like button. It helps us out quite a bit. And we're going to have a fun season.
At 100. We're almost at 100. We need
on
to
Facebook. That's just Facebook. So that's just Facebook. I don't even know how many we're going to be at on YouTube, but we got big audiences. We love this. We love you guys. We want to have a big season with all of you reacting to whatever the Titans show us on the field. For all of our Titan Game Day Live partners, we appreciate everything you guys have. Once again, every pregame, halftime, and postgame after all Titans games, Buck Rising is going to be live from New Orleans tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime here coming up in a few hours. And we appreciate you guys. And Zach and I will see you Monday morning. Buckle up for that one. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Appreciate it.